I'm not sure if Cheese Forever is cooking or if he's going on his conspiracy theory arc, but he recently posted a video. Bungie is tricking you. It's a lie. Okay. And this video does have 3,000 upvotes to like 41 dislikes. So a lot of people are agreeing with this. So I'm wondering exactly what we're talking about here, because this is in regard to power changes and the power delta. So I want to know, how is Bungie tricking us now? What is going on with these power changes? What is cooking up? What is happening right now? There's so much. Every day there's like, Bungie's doing this, and now they're not doing that, but they're doing this. And then there's 20 new things they're going to do. And then like 12 of them they said they're not going to do. And then 3 of them they said maybe they're going to do. But then actually the one thing they said they were going to do wasn't actually what it was. It was actually this other thing. I'm just like, I'd have to like have like a crazy cork board behind me here connecting the fucking lines between everything to actually understand what's happening in this game anymore. Let's start from the beginning here.
Hey guys, you're here for Bungie screwing up power again. The 4th time, I think. Bungie is adding +1 power drops for all portal activities, and that's great, and it's starting October 14th. However, Bungie is now doing mandatory power delta for difficulties, and that is actually the worst thing for the power grind. And some are saying, this is great, but they're wrong! This is the proposed delta. Bungie is bringing everyone...
That last, but they're wrong! Which is interesting. When I first heard about the power delta thing, I thought it was odd because when we were leveling before Ashen Iron, we were able to put on enough modifiers at like a B+ rating where you were at level with the activity for a certain section. And I remember being at level for a while and getting those +1, +3 drops. So now I'm like, now you're telling me that the activity that I was previously doing at level would be -20 at master? That sounds like it would be worse, you know? But that was a little bit of like kind of what I was thinking, but I wanted to get into the details of it here.
to 300 power on October 14th, so let's start there. Everyone is now in Master difficulty. Everything you do in the portal is now -20. If you put Touche, no HUD, and no starting ammo, you could get an A rank right now and be the same power as your enemies. But Bungie wants you to be -20. And before you start with the no ammo there...
So that's what he's saying. He's literally saying exactly what I said. You could be at level right now, but instead you're going to be -20. So we're on the same page here, at least to start. Let's see where we go. Let's see where it goes from here.
Free ammo boxes or rally flags in any activity that's actually worth farming. So look at this Reddit post. Never worse than -15. They farmed. They didn't go below 15, and there have been 3 or 4 buffs for higher scoring since the season launched. Bungie is removing what made player stakes special and are saying please run 4 modifiers instead. Might as well call stakes modifiers at that point. I don't think people realize that with the recent changes it's not hard to get an A rank if you factor in the 75 to 90% of a bar of score bonus awarded for doing an activity quickly, which you should be doing these things quickly. And it's the same for Grandmaster under the current system. At work,
he's passionate about it. He's not happy about this. Let's get in. I feel like we're starting to cook here. I haven't seen something yet where I'm too necessarily upset. The problem is I need to see how the new system feels. There's a level of like text and convolution to the whole thing where I'm like, all right, let's see what it actually amounts to be, you know, when I log in and play.
First, you may have been 15 under if you utilize stakes, but now you're always 25 under. They say things will be notably easier for Grandmaster and Ultimate. That's a lie! It's a lie! And they didn't say notably easier activities, they said notably result in easier activities. But that's a lie because it'll never result in an easier activity for the Ultimate difficulty. For 500 power, Ultimate difficulty, they're always treating you like you're 470 power. It does not incentivize you to go beyond 470 power because getting an A rank score at 470 gives tier 5 rewards guaranteed. 470 is the cap as far as power level goes. There's no reason to go above 470. And every time I get a power past that, I'm making activities harder and harder for me and harder for my teammates. And they will be getting less score because of me. And I'm having to throw on more modifiers for no reason, no additional rewards, and no additional power. And I did this solo op in 4 minutes, less than 4 minutes, while being 15 over the enemies, not under. And no matter how many negative modifiers I add in the new system, it will not change that fact. I got the maximum amount of loot of the highest quality with the least amount of effort than I would ever get in this new proposed system.
All right, he is cooking. If everything he just said is accurate, then he is absolutely cooking here.
There will never be a scenario where I need to be 30 under right now in this system. Pressure Cooker and Touche, or Pressure Cooker and Extinction. Either combo gets me max rewards, and as I get closer to 550, I might need to have all three. Getting max rewards while being 40 over my enemies. Being 40 over is the reward for grinding power. The ability to grind for gear faster than before. I can farm things faster than before. I'm doing more damage than before. That is the reward for being above 470 power. Why you would want to go more than that. And they want to take that only benefit away. And Bungie is disguising a nerf to the game like it's a good thing. If I deleted all of my powerful gear until I was 470 power, if I went all the way back down, I would have an easier time farming the game. I could delete every powerful that I'm not trying to keep while I'm leveling up, and I'll get tier 5 loot faster because I refuse to level up. I'm deleting these powerfuls to stay lower power longer for less modifiers. That's a half-baked, flawed system, and Bungie knows that. A system that incentivizes you to delete your own powerful rewards. They want to nerf higher tier players to get them farming longer, and if they reset the power, then nobody will be farming next season unless you're bored out of your mind. If you're 550 power right now, you only need a C+ score to get guaranteed tier 5 gear. It's impossible to get lower than a C+ in this game. If you do that...
So basically what he's saying is that, yeah, if you're like higher power level, you get to do things under leveled, or over leveled rather, I meant to say. So being held at a lower delta is a net loss, basically. So maybe they need to have a way to combat that with like you have to create a variant of the system, or maybe a positive modifier for people that are over leveled. I don't even know what the fix is for this. Seems like every time Bungie tries to fix something in the portal, they break two other things. You know what I'm saying? They fix one thing in the portal, or one concept almost even, and in the process of like adjusting that concept, they break two other things.
Ultimate difficulty, meaning instead of being 50 over using no modifiers, they are now minus 30. It's not a fair system, and it's hurting players above 470 power. So don't go saying it's making things notably easier for Ultimate, because there is zero scenario where that's true, and you don't have any testers that would agree. And if you had any testers, they wouldn't have agreed. I've always been passionate about power leveling. I made a 45-minute video with every power trick in the book once. 45 minutes. Coming from the 2-minute video guy. Anyone who goes out today...
45-minute video from the 2-minute video guy is classic. That's so good.
Use player stakes, and then see what rewards you get, and at most use modifiers that put you at the same power level as your enemies. You will have an easy time. So I'll test this currently. If I'm at power, I'm doing 88 and 123 damage with this machine.
Oh, he's showing it off, the difference between what the power delta would feel like. He's showing off what it's going to feel like when these changes go live.
If I bump up the activity to minus 30, I'm now doing 39 and 55. I'm doing 56% less damage at minus 30, taking 50% longer to kill enemies. They're bringing back the bullet sponges, and in the current system, I'm running 15 over, doing 91 and 127 damage. That's 3% more damage, and I've got no weapon stat. Bungie wants us to do 56% less damage when all we want is rewarded for our effort, not penalized. The reward is the extra damage. If Bungie implements Power Delta in the ultimate difficulty, they are nerfing players intentionally, and they're calling it a buff. And if you see this as a buff, you don't know what a player stake is, and you haven't made it to ultimate difficulty, because it's obvious. And nobody at Bungie has made it to ultimate difficulty, because it would be obvious. And maybe a point you could bring up is that the reward for leveling up is getting tier 5s at a lower projected score rating. Like, so I can get a C+ instead of needing an A. But that's an illusion, because as you rank up, they intentionally take projected score away from you. So to balance that, you get the same reward at a lower grade because they're only letting you get a lower grade for doing the exact same mission. It's a lateral movement disguised as them saying you get easier tier 5s for leveling up when you do the same mission and get the same reward, but you get less score for doing it, and you get a lower projected score, which means you get less power level as the reward.
He's cooking now. He's cooking. I wonder how Bungie will respond to this.
So by leveling up, you're getting less power and the same reward. And that's under the current system, not even the proposed system. It's already like that. And then I have to get started on the seasonal hub track. The powerful engrams drop at +0. They are no longer powerful when you reach 500. It's terrible. Then we have the event pass, like Arms Week or the Reclaim event, which includes +1s, like Iron Banner. +1s from that reward track. And Zavala, which is just a +2. And Primes are a +2. And you know what they didn't announce in the TWAB? Changes to that. So I could do a single reclaim in 8 minutes, and I will get 6 drops that are all +2 in the new system. That is if I had 3 bonus engrams. But my weekly powerfuls, event rewards, primes, and even Zavala are just a single +2. Without a meaningful buff to these sources as well, there will be no reason to do events.
Cheese forever, Guardian.
All right. Well, there it is. That was Bungie is tricking you. They are lying about new power changes again. So I think what's happening here is maybe a good instance of Bungie not really playtesting their new systems or understanding even the current systems enough to implement these changes. It almost feels like they're taking our current system and saying, hey, here, try a whole new system. This one will be better. But when you actually look at it, it doesn't really look better on paper. And obviously, if it doesn't look better on paper, it's probably not going to actually play out to be any better. But you can hopefully be cautiously optimistic that there's a chance the power grind will be a little more manageable. But at this stage, I don't even know. Optimism is not really the right mood for the Destiny 2 community. We really want this power grind shenanigans, the power grind bullshit to end. You know, like power grinding should not be the main focal point of Destiny 2. Like there should be other things to do and interest us. And power grind should be something that happens passively. I think you should passively level up and power level as you're doing engaging, fun, interesting activities. And so that way, you know, while you're having fun playing Destiny, there is this number that is getting bigger, and it is, you know, it's just a byproduct of having fun rather than it being the driving force of why you're even playing the game. You know, I think that that paradigm shift and that perspective shift is massive. And I think that's really what the Destiny 2 community is asking, you know, and I don't think Bungie's really hearing that message, and they keep trying to scramble and adjust and change and make the portal do this and make the portal do that and buff this and nerf that, right? They're scrambling because they really don't want to lose all of their Destiny 2 player base, because at least even though power leveling is an absolutely awful task to ask of people, but at least if there's something to do, if there's something to play, people will play this game, you know, the Destiny addiction that people have. I call it Destiny Stockholm Syndrome, jokingly. And so they want there to be at least something, I guess. Right now, the power grind is not it. And we're watching the population and the positive sentiment of Destiny 2 dwindle largely due to this. I don't know who cooked this up. If this was Pete's last fucking hoorah before dipping out to the Bahamas, this is not it. We need a whole, you know what we need? We need a Joe Blackburn state of the game. That's what we need. I want to, since Justin Truman just stepped into office, Justin Truman, convince us that you are the savior of this game and not just Pete Parsons 2.0, you know? Give us a state of the game in Destiny 2, specifically talking about the portal as the first topic, and then anything else you want to talk about afterwards. We can go into all of it, but the portal is front and center right now. This is, you know, public enemy number 1 to the Destiny 2 community, and this is prioritization 1 for Bungie. Fixing this is huge. We need a state of the game, and I think that Justin Truman, the new CEO who replaced Pete, I think that would be appropriate, and talk about the portal and give us a new leveling system that makes sense and actually excites the Destiny 2 players to log on.